You're listening to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, episode 25. On today's episode, I'm joined by Malfiar and Ara from the Nation to discuss LOONA, sexy ahjussis, and youthful music festival vibes. So sit back and chill with friends. You're listening to the after show with the SojuTalk Nation. Welcome to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, a chill discussion on this week in the SojuTalk Nation. We're recording on Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. I'm your host, Crispy, also known as Crispy Wonton, or simply just Anton, and I'm recording the intro solo for now. Later on, I'll be joined by Malfiar, an enormous LOONA fan and Orbit. He is also a mod on the server on the SojuTalk Kpop Podcast Discord. And Ara to finish up the week in music, as well as talk about the Best First Dates World Cup that they discussed on the main show. Announcements. Soju Sessions episode 14, we piloted video. So shout out to OP for designing the overlay. My face, OP's face, very visible. And I do apologize for the audio. We were testing some things out and it picked up the wrong inputs. But you know what? I think we have it all sorted out. So look out for future episodes with our faces and much improved audio. Celebrating the nation with birthdays this week, we have on June 30th, Shinboy, July 3rd, Daniel. July 5th, we have a trio of birthdays with Amethyst, Swag Donkey, and yes, myself, Crispy. So wish us all a wonderful happy birthday on Discord, shout us out, and ping us, because I think, it lets us know that we're alive and, gives us something to look forward to when we hop online. So I'm sure everyone will appreciate that. Moving on now to this week in SojuTalk Music. We have 3 new songs in contention for Spice King this week. We have LOONA with Paint the Town, 2 p.m. with Make It, and NCT Dream with Hello Future. So let's get right into it. My deep dive conversation with Malfiar on Paint the Town by LOONA. Joining the show this week to discuss LOONA, the biggest Orbit, the lore master himself, and the mod from the nation, we have Malfiar. Welcome to the show, Mal.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course. I was going through LOONA stuff as the comeback promotions were bountiful and plenty, and I couldn't think of anyone better to talk about LOONA with all of the information and all the bits of knowledge for lore that you've given the nation over the past few months, and even I would say years since the nation has opened up on Discord. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. LOONA with their brand new song, Paint the Town. What are your first impressions about the song and music video when it released this week?
So it would be like a total lie if I would say that I wasn't super excited, even without knowing that my favorite member was going to be back at last. Like it's been a long 8 months since we last had music from LOONA. So I was really pumped up to just have anything new from them. And when I wasn't exactly, didn't know what totally to expect sound-wise, especially when they started saying, Bollywood in the description, but I really enjoyed it. The music video looked awesome, and there's just so much to catch. I'm big on lore stuff. There's so much that they have in there, so much that you can easily miss or just not even know about. So I've been pumped. I woke up at, 3 a.m. to watch their fan meet that they had on Sunday. Woke up early to watch their concert on Monday. So it's been good.
Yeah, no, Luna does a really nice job of having the full experience with K-pop, right? I think it speaks to the the amount of investment and the amount of attention that BlackBerry does give the group. When they release something, it's a full experience. Um, so with the song itself, it's a hype song. It falls under the hype girl crush genre. And they discussed it on the show. So Doug, this is very much his type of music. You know, he was super excited to talk about it on the show. His body language was just up and excited. Warren, not so much. It didn't really work for him. But then you have Anita, wonderful Anita, falling somewhere in the middle. What did you think about Paint the Town, and what kind of sets it apart from the other Girl Crush songs within this genre that have been released recently?
Um, to me, the most unique thing with this song is the fact that they leaned so far into that Bollywood sound. I'm sure there are other groups and songs in K-pop that have done it, but this is very memorable for me. It sticks out in my brain. I can't really think and remember any others. So I'm sure they exist. Like I said, I'm sure they exist. Um, but it's past that with like I wouldn't say it's too unique, honestly. Past like that really big Bollywood sound, there's a lot of pretty standard K-pop girl crush stuff that's in it. So it's not, to me, it's not the most unique of songs, but it's still Luna, and I still like and appreciate that. And I love that they went with that sort of unique sound.
Yeah, to me, I feel like what sets Luna apart is that they've been around for a bit now. So I know the show, the crew mentioned on the show that they've been around for about 3 years, but technically with promotions and the pre-releases around 2017. So they do have a sense of being seasoned idols, and there's a little bit of polish to the way that they release music. A lot of that's thanks to BlackBerry, but a lot of that also because the girls have just been in it for so long. With So What and Why Not, I do feel like that is within the girl crush genre as well. But I think with Paint the Town, they lean into it far more, into the hype.
It's a lot more powerful than either of those prior songs.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the cool part about like Luna. I think they do line up with the trends quite well, and I think they not to like compare directly with other groups who have similar sounds, but I do think that they do the trend as best, if not better, than a lot of other groups. And I think that's for me like it's a lot more fun because like we've known the group for a long time, we've known the members, and we get to kind of see their evolution throughout music within the current meta, right? Warren said something kind of interesting.
Yeah.
He did mention the meta, and I thought there was a bit of comedy when he was saying like, "If this works for you, great," and then Doug raising his hand, saluting saluting a certain fascist group of the 1940s. And that was kind of light. It kept some levity, but I think underlying everything, Warren was a bit critical, right? Where he broke down kind of the sample pack and the progressions. What did you think about Warren's kind of detailed description about the music and what didn't work for him?
Um, so I kind of just expect to disagree with Warren at this point on many things when it comes to the music. I literally have written down at one over here is like Warren's opinions are not respected in this household. By the way, love you, Warren. No hate. um, so it's not surprising to me that he has like a very different take on it than I feel I do. So it's kind of how it goes with Warren. He and I tend to be on very different sides of things, and when we line up, we're kind of like, oh wait, what? We agree on something. Um, it's like I don't total. I'm not on the same boat as he is at all. Um, he was saying stuff not feeling it was necessarily most unique and everything, or that it necessarily worked for them, and then started saying some other groups. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like for Luna, it worked well for them, and they stand out doing their thing.
I think for me, like I'm taking in the entire experience, right? Where yes, just on the music side, I can understand Warren's kind of detailing out the way it was constructed. But then because we're watching the music video, because we know the members and we know generally how it's all put together, I think, and we'll get into this later, but kind of like the highlights accentuated the music a bit more for me. So with the visuals,
Yeah.
the choreography, the outfits, and then typically dark music videos haven't worked out, but this one kind of did, because it wasn't actually like super dark. It was just like moody and
Yes.
fantastical, right?
And
Uh,
Warren's also always been, he focuses a lot more on like the music itself, and I don't blame him. That's his background. He does the producing and everything. So I get him on that. It's for me, like you're saying there, I take in more, a lot more than just solely the music, the performance, the video, the choreo. There's just so much more to it than just the music.
yeah. So like going off of that with like the full package of the song and music video, right? So what stood out to you with the song and kind of the energy of everything that was happening, and then kind of what the crew was saying, how the chorus kind of lost them. There was questions about the choreography, but when I step back and look at the whole picture in totality, it's still super enjoyable and it's still super nice to see all the members back together. What are your overall feelings about how it's all constructed?
Um, I think that it all flowed well for me. There are definitely some parts that like I wasn't expecting, like the Yojin rap completely caught me off guard because I for years they were trying to push Jinsol and go on as the rappers, and suddenly we have Yojin and Eves doing the rap break in the song. So that was very different for Luna. Um, I loved have Jinsol getting so many lines in the song. She's such a great singer. Um, I love whenever they are able to put a bigger focus on her. Um, no hate towards Chu. I love Chu's voice. She's amazing. I just, for me, vocal texture wise, Jinsol is my favorite singer in the whole group. So the more Jinsol I get singing, the happier I'm gonna be. And then also just Hustle. It's having Hustle there, even if she didn't get that much time, having her there, hearing her voice after 2.5 years. It's been 2.5 years since they had Butterfly. 1.5 years since we last saw her perform live when she did 365. It's amazing.
Yeah, it adds to kind of the emotional connection we have with all our groups, all our favorite groups, right? Where we kind of see things coming together and all the members thriving. And even if, songs may not work for everyone, I think we can all appreciate when something is put together that resonates with us. For me, kind of on a lighter note, the song gave me a lot of flashbacks to 2010s rave music, a lot of big room EDM, which I personally love. So anytime a song like this comes out, I get like Afrojack and mid 2010s Tiesto, and I'm
It
told,
makes you want to thrash about,
right, it just like jump and just like wild out. But I think
especially that chorus. When you have that big drop there, and then they just keep hitting that bass line on you. Then
yeah, and like the visual of that of beating the drum, like literally just like continuing with like the heavy hits, right? But I think like what you said about the vocals, um, kind of what makes it K-pop, right? Where there's the layering, there's vocal quality, and then there's our ability to kind of distinguish and differentiate like which members are singing what parts. And I kind of want to go into member highlights. So I know you touched on it a bit, but who had your favorite moments and what caught your eye about those moments in the music video?
um definitely my favorite scene in the music video itself is going into like the final chorus and slash outro when Chu basically comes running forward, says let's go, and does the kick. That they perfectly do in slow mo in the MV just to add the emphasis to it. That's just such a moment for me in there. It stands out so well. She looks so great. It fits perfectly in there. I read somewhere today on Twitter during like they were doing like a fan meet, and she said originally they just wanted her to do like a salute, and she asked if she could do that instead. And I'm so glad that she came up with that idea. because the salute just wouldn't have been the same. Another moment, I'm sure you'll definitely appreciate this one, as I know it's your favorite member, but the start of the second chorus, when it's just Eve alone on the screen at the start, when they have that drop going into the chorus, um, that just looks awesome. And then one small thing that I feel like a lot of people probably won't even necessarily notice is during the final chorus and outro, it's way back in the back of the vocals for the production, but you can actually hear Hassel, and she's singing like opera style notes. You may have to like turn your volume way up and try to listen for what's way back in the production, but that's Hassel singing opera in the song. And for people who don't know, Hassel is actually like a trained opera singer. You can find like several minute long clips of her singing opera, and it's just awesome that she got to bust that out for a title track.
That is a detail that I did not know, and I really appreciate that you're able to pull that out because I think for music fans and for people who can appreciate vocal quality but don't necessarily have the words or experience to articulate it, I think that is a really nice bit of trivia and kind of a deeper understanding of Hustle herself, but then also like the range that she has. Because now I'm only going to be thinking about, well, not only, but I'll definitely be thinking in that direction anytime she'll have a new song or anytime she'll belt something out, right? Where it's like, oh, okay, that is why she has so much control. That is why she's able to go so hard. Yes, just like you said, Eve is my favorite member. That moment where it's the slow mo and she has that very like powerful step and she just looks into your soul. That one, that was the initial one.
It ruined you, didn't it?
I needed a moment. I think I blacked out for the rest of the music video, so I needed to rewatch it again. But it's okay
Bro,
because
I don't even blame you.
yeah,
I totally understand. She was my original bias in the group. I understand.
oh, thank you. But you know, as I've gotten to know the members over the years, definitely have loved them all in different ways. But I think Eve, for some reason, just always stands out for me.
She was my starting point in Luna, so
Right?
been there.
Yeah. The other Eve moment was actually a trio. So it was Kim Lip with her bandana top, and then Go On. That was excellent.
Oh yeah, the when the three of them are in the hallway.
Yeah, with Eve with the denim's top and skirt, I thought that outfit was something else. I can't really put words to it. I just if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the music video again and look for that outfit because words can't do justice with how she kills it. And again, more Eve, but I think her charisma is just out of control. I think her subtle eye raises every time that she has the focus and she's the center is what I always pick up on. And when it's a darker concept like this, I think that fits in thematically really well. Where
Oh,
she's
she fits that sort of thing so well.
yeah,
It's so hilarious seeing like her when they try to make her do like cutesy bubblegum stuff compared to when they let her do stuff like this. It is such a world's difference. She fits this so well, their current concept and the stuff that they're doing.
yeah. I think the charisma and acting just like fits so well with this type of storytelling and storyline, right? I did want to ask about something that they brought up on the show, and it was Go On and Vivi and their line distribution. I know they mentioned a few things about layering on top of other members' singing parts, but how did you feel about how those two members represented and kind of the overall crew conversation about that?
Um, so I'm the person where I kind of just get it's a large group, there are 12 members. There's only so much time in every song to go around. In a bunch of my other groups, I unfortunately also my favorite members in some of those groups are also people who get the least lines in many of their songs. So I come from having dealt with that in a lot of my other groups that I like. Um, but with this, the way I kind of feel is like it's K-pop. It happens. It's not to put down the feelings of the people who are specifically biased those groups, but it's there's not enough time for everybody to get the like 20 plus seconds that Heejin and Chu are getting in these sort of songs. They're gonna push the people, whether it be because they're the most technically gifted or because they happen to be the most popular members. And when you look at like the distribution for this song, you can definitely tell they're trying to push first Heejin and Chu, who happen to be the most popular members of the group right now. And then after that, like Kimlip, Jinsol, who are two of like the best all-arounders in the group as well. Um, it sucks. I'd like to see them more. I do know like Vivi has said in the past that she kind of prefers to be a little bit more behind the scenes for stuff and not necessarily always be front and center on stage. So I don't know if that's something that could play a part of it, at least for Vivi. Um, I will say they got totally screwed over in terms of screen time in the video. They do have solo shots in the music video, despite what people will sit there and tell you, but they're pretty much like blink and you miss it. Like one of the solo shots for Go On, I think, is literally zero point 0.4 seconds long. Um, you may not even have enough time to realize that it was Go On. Um, and it's a shame because when you see some of the teasers and stuff, where if you actually stop and freeze it on those frames, they look freaking great. Because that's where Vivi has the like the antler crown, Go On has the butterflies all over her. They look great, but you just don't get to see it like you get to see every other member's like shots, and it sucks. But I'm not somebody who's gonna sit there and get all upset that two members aren't getting the most time. Um, it does suck that this is continues to happen over the course of several songs. But the one glowing point in all this is that if you watch their choreo, Go On and Vivi actually are very prompt in the choreography, in my opinion. There are a lot of points where they get to be up near the front in the center, or they're interacting with whoever's in the center, singing the lines. So it's not like even just in the choreography they just disappear into the back. So at least they have that. Um, yeah,
Yeah, no, I think
that's my.
yeah. No, thank you so much for that. I mean, I think it's a very valid point, right? Where if you're a fan of Luna, if those are details that you take notice of, you are going to see a lack of representation for those two members or members in larger groups, right? Just because, like you said, it's difficult to give everyone the same amount of screen time. But I think if we kind of just reason things out and we understand the nature of K-pop, I think we'll be okay with it. And like you said, choreography videos and there's other ways that maybe are highlighting or showing those members in a different light that aren't specifically for the music video. So yeah, if
Like
you go ahead.
one extra thing, like just going off that, like I know a bunch of people were talking stuff with the line distribution, but like even when you look at Hustle in the song, when you like add up all the stuff, if you look at most of the like the line distribution videos, it only shows that Hustle has like one more second of vocal time in the song than VV or Go On, but they still managed to show her so much more in the music video, and I do think that's definitely something that I wish the company would work on doing because these girls have put in so much time and effort in all this. They at least can have those sort of scenes shown. Hassel may have only had like 1 second more, but she's on screen so much more and by herself, even for solo shots. Just one thing I wish the company would work on.
Yeah, and I think that that is something that I don't know. It's always a tricky balance, right? Where you can have choreography that highlights all the members, but then because the music video and the editing and kind of the prioritization, it gets tricky. But I will say it was nice to see Hustle, and I think that was a
Oh
point
my
of
god.
emphasis for sure, just to make sure that she got screen time, even if she wasn't singing.
I
Um,
would have raged.
yeah, well, we're here and we got her. To kind of close out our conversation, Luna is known for lore. This is one of their big
Yes.
selling points. You are the lore master. So with these three title tracks over the past year or so, So What, Why Not, and now Paint the Town, what is the overarching story? Is there an overarching theme with how everything was constructed and played out?
There is. It's kind of a weird one. It's not as easy to follow as a lot of their earlier stuff in terms of the narrative. But the easiest way to really say is that like the last two music videos with I've kind of set up that Luna's rebuilding the world, restarting the world, and starting anew. Um, and so like you'll see in prior music videos, like there's the meteor showers, the moon like basically gets like burned up, so does the earth at one point. Um, it's like they're in the middle of like an apocalypse practically. You even see like Go On basically being shown like up in space looking out over a hurricane. Um, and so also if you look through like the lyrics for the song, it kind of suggests that in a way too. Um, in the description, they talk about that Luna is basically like breaking free from oppressors. Um, and so it seems like this specific song, they're starting that new world. There's so much to catch in terms of with lore for what's going on. Um, if you pay enough attention, you can kind of notice that it seems like the music video is taking place at three different distinct times. Because you have basically like there's a conflict that's going on in the video, and you have before the conflict, during the conflict, and after the conflict, and you can tell where we are based on how the set looks. You have that like big Coliseum set when everything looks nice, perfect, and bright in it. That's before the conflict. Then you have the part during the conflict, and that's where they have all the dancers that are holding the spears around them that you'll notice specifically in the first chorus. Um, so that appears to be like the when they're having the conflict, when they're breaking free of the oppressors. And then there's after the conflict where you'll notice that big Coliseum set looks destroyed and damaged. If you look up at the roof, you'll notice all those spears that the dancers are holding are now suddenly planted in the ground. So it kind of seems like Luna may have defeated them. And if you also look really closely at like Olivia and Eve's faces, you'll notice in their makeup that they suddenly have like scars on their face, which doesn't appear in like any other scenes. So there's like details like that. At one point, it seems like they're in the Mobius Strip, which is its own complicated thing that I suggest people look up if you want to understand that, because that's too much for me to try to explain in a small segment like this. There's all sorts of stuff that they have in there for like the story. They're doing constant call outs and references to the past music videos. So if you watch during the scenes where they're in that hallway, you can notice when it's just Heejin on screen, you can see her outfit from her debut music video sitting in the back of the room. When it's just Eve on the screen, you can see her outfit from her debut. Members with their animals, like Vivi with her antlers, Go On with the butterflies. You see a callback to Why Not with Chew and the flower petals towards the end of Why Not. She's standing on the car, there's all the petals going around her, and she's reaching out. They reference that again. They have Kimlip and Jinsol in their school uniforms. At one point, it even shows like they're holding hands, and like their hands are supposed to like slip apart. So perhaps they're saying that there might be some sort of like split between them. Um, there's just so much to catch for people who love the lore, and for people that are like super deep in the lore. Like this music video might basically have just tossed up everything we thought we knew in terms of the timeline for Luna. Our timeline that we believed might be totally wrong. It's crazy. I could go on about this for like hours if you really let me.
No, that was great. I think a lot of those details are what make Luna so unique and special to a lot of people, right? Because I know they've mentioned this on the show many times, but and I do like to like bring it up occasionally. It's this idea that you grow up with your favorite groups, right? And
Yes.
you kind of see where they start when they debut, when they're younger people, then they come of age, and then they have the transformation. And with LOONA, it's very explicit, right? With Butterfly, where they're growing from being young women into adulthood. And I think with the past 3 songs and all the imagery that you so beautifully described, I think it's moving into a different phase in their life. It's moving in parallel with coming of age, now transitioning into your mid-20s. And what does that mean
Yeah.
about taking
Well, like
agency?
one of the biggest things that I felt like I noticed is that like basically it's the last 3 have been showing them breaking free, challenging the status quo basically. Like if you look at the lyrics and you look at the MVs, that kind of seems to be the message that they're going through. Break free and challenge the status quo.
Yeah, a lot of taking control of your own destiny. I feel like is the theming and kind of the moral of that story, right? Yeah, well, thank you so much for your lore mastery of LOONA. I do appreciate that you're able to kind of bring in that perspective of kind of the deeper understanding of story and arc, right? Because I think a lot of times stories like this within K-pop, they're sometimes it just feels like it's there just to add fluff to whatever concept they're doing. But I think with LOONA, it's very particular and specific to their journey as people, but also kind of the universal stories of growing up. And what does that mean to kind of shake up the status quo, like you said, as you get older, as you start to challenge authority, challenge things in your life. So yeah, I really do appreciate your wider and deeper knowledge about LOONA. Any closing thoughts about the song and music video before we head out?
All I can just say is for anybody who's like known me on the server, they'll know that I'm a really big Hustle fan. Um, and it's just made me so happy to finally have her back after 1.5 years of hiatus, after having only seen or heard from her 3 times in the last year and a half until this. Um, I remember when they dropped the one of the first teasers where it had all the members' eyes and I saw her name listed on there. I was at work and I just kind of like broke down crying at work, and then everybody was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's nothing." It makes me so happy to have my bias finally be back. It's one of those things where you don't appreciate what you have with things, even with K-pop, until it's not there anymore. I know Eve said this when they were doing the concert that she used to always focus so much on performing the best that she can, looking as pretty as she can, everything like that. But she said this comeback has kind of changed that, and that she's trying to appreciate them as 12 members and the time that they have together. And I really feel like fans should do that too, whether it's for LOONA or for their own groups. Sit down, take some time, enjoy what you have, because it may not always be that way forever. Something could happen, or eventually the group will come to an end, and sit down, enjoy what you have.
Well, that was a
Of
very
course, it's
beautiful.
Eve with the deep thoughts.
Yeah, well, that was a very beautiful sentiment, and just the idea of being in the present moment. And I think that's how a lot of K-pop fans are, or at least like strive to be, right? Where try not to look too far into the future, try not to linger on the past, but be here and now with the thing that we love and appreciate. And I appreciate you, Mal, for coming on for this
Aw.
deep dive into LOONA. I know that you prepared well for this with all of your sticky notes, as you mentioned prior to recording. So I do want to thank you for taking the time and all the effort for having such deep thoughts about this group that we all love.
Of course, I could talk about this for hours if somebody let me. I know I've sat Wolf down in Discord voice chat before. I've been like, okay, we're doing LOONA lessons today. So I love talking about this stuff.
Joining me now for the remainder of the show to talk this week in music and some other fun things that happened on the main show this week. We have Ara. Welcome to the show, Ara.
Hi.
All right, so let's pick up right where we left off in our music conversation with LOONA. Mel and I, Malfiar, one of the many great mods on the server, discussed LOONA at length. But I wanted to get your take on one aspect of the conversation on the main show this week, and that was the Bollywood inspiration. From your experience and what you heard with the song and music video, what did you take out of it that felt very Bollywood to you?
I think the introduction itself was like a very Bollywood themed music video. Not even a music video, just like a song. Like the drums and like the beat itself was very like Bollywood vibes, because it's like Bollywood songs, if they're like dance or upbeat songs, they have that typical drum and basically that like introduction. So when I first started watching it, I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting it because I haven't really like listened to the teasers before listening to the LOONA track. So
Yeah, same.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it was a surprise to me as well, just because I did see a lot of the visuals leading up to the release, but I typically don't like to listen to any previews musically, just because I like to be surprised there.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the big takeaway from the crew is that they are able to kind of pay attention to the details of production, and for me, like inform me to pay attention to the Bollywood aspect. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have been clued into that genre of music. And it's kind of cool that with your background and the things you know about Bollywood, you're able to make that connection. Was there anything else the crew mentioned that stood out to you about LOONA?
Same for like like I know in one part of the MV like they beat the drums, like the big drum. So that was also very like Bollywoody. So that's another like surprising thing. I know like Warren mentioned like the snake or sorry, like the hypnotic flute. Typical like Asian South Asian hypnotic music is like very like snake enchanting. It's not like on the same level as LOONA. It's kind of different, but you could tell that it was trying to be like the snake hypnosis type music. Yeah.
And that's actually like really a great insight on your part, because I think Warren was had questions about that. And I think that clarifies a lot, right? Because for me, it's like when I heard that, it didn't seem like it was a real instrument, or like not a real instrument, but it was more like a description of an instrument as opposed to like the instrument itself. But now that like you clarified that it's commonly used in Southeast Asian music, I think that's something to look out for now moving forward with this genre and other Bollywood inspired songs. So
yeah, like this like the hypnotic music is not like as used. It's more used for like say like item songs. I would say like they're like this typical genre of like people. So in movies, like when people go to the bar or like to a club, the song that plays at the club, that's this type of music, or like that type of music as LOONA has.
Nice. Yeah, well, definitely can see like the globalization and like pulling from other cultures and other sounds. So, yeah, very exciting. And I do appreciate that you're able to come on and kind of speak to that, because I think that was one part of it that was very unaware and unfamiliar with. And I think it does very much add to what the crew is expressing about the uniqueness of the song and how it was put together. Let's move on now to 2 p.m. with Make It. I have a couple quick things about the song that the crew mentioned. One very quick thing is that sexy ahjussis are a thing. Yes, I very much took notice. And K-drama vibes. I got that, and I was very intrigued to continue watching to see how this all unfolded. But Ara, how about you? How did this song and music video play for you, and what did you think about the crew's very lighthearted conversation about the way that the music video was put together?
Yeah, I agree with the K-drama vibes. Like it went from like the light scenes to like dark very quickly. Like the transitions were very K-drama. drama-y. And I mean, I watched the music video. At that time, like I was like, okay, like the song is good. And then I heard it on Spotify, and I was like, okay, I prefer the B-sides more, just because I don't know, like it's an okay title track for me. I mean, like My House compared to My House, I was just like, okay, no, this doesn't hit. But I saw the comeback showcase for 2 p.m. and they seem to be enjoying themselves so much on stage that I like, even if I didn't like vibe with the song, I vibed with them. So I like it was just like a really good time watching them. And yeah, the music video was like, yes, I liked watching it.
It's the full experience, right? Where it's like
Yes.
you watch the music video and you're more engaged with like what's happening, as opposed to like the song is just there to complement, and then you get the stage performance and it kind of ties it all together.
Mm-hmm.
They are a little bit of an older group, so I do get the Gen 2 vibes. I am personally not familiar with 2 p.m. Their older music, I should say. Like I knew
Yeah,
I knew
not
of
me
them.
either.
I know they existed. It's just I've said this many times, but yeah, very much into girl groups. So hello, hi.
No,
But
I tried. Like, I got recommendations from like some of my friends for 2 p.m. I still haven't really like listened to them other than like My House and like the current album.
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
let's go on that. So they mentioned that on the show, My House, and kind of being a continuation of 2 p.m. sound, in a way that isn't so much of a repeat recycle. It's more of a, oh, like we're continuing this brand, our brand, and this vibe, right? Um, do you feel like the crew did a nice job giving somewhat of a history lesson to younger fans, or like fans like me who just happened to miss 2 p.m. during the Gen 2 heydays?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, having like a quick like rundown of the group's history is very helpful, especially because um you can see like how the music video continues, or like the story kind of continues to make it from My House. So that's nice.
Do you feel like this is a trend that's going to be moving forward with triple downing, as Warren put it, on the mid 2010s K-pop retro sound? Because I think we're at the point now where we can look back and say that was a very distinct period in music history where that sound is so different that if you brought it into the current
Hmm.
era, it sounds retro. It sounds like a throwback. Is that something
To be
you're
honest, I'm not really into older groups per se, so I don't know a lot of music for like most groups. I only listen to like the new groups, like Highlight. When Highlight came back, I listened to their new one, like their new songs. I haven't heard their previous songs, so I can't really. I don't know if like it's a continuation or if it's just like a new sound that they've made.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, right? Where I think they recognize
Hmm.
that it's from a certain era with a very distinct sound, right? Very identifiable, but also it's
Yeah.
their sound and they know that they can do it
Yeah,
well.
I could tell like that was like very like 2 p.m. or very Highlight.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
Yeah. Well, I do hope that we do get some trends of general audience accessible music and like the point choreography where it's bringing back the broad appeal of K-pop as opposed to nowadays where it's like very fan specific, which is all great because we have like I think a far strong, well, maybe not stronger, but a lot of very visible dedication to K-pop groups, right? But I think what would be kind of cool and interesting is if it permeated back into general Korean culture, and then that was a
Mhm.
representation for kind of the rest of the world to see.
Yeah.
Moving on now to NCT Dream with Hello Future. This song surprised me. Um, how did you feel
Same.
about this song, Ara?
Okay, so compared to their last comeback, Hot Sauce, I was very much surprised because I wasn't really expecting like light vibes or like summery type vibes from them. Um, and the music video was also like very soccer stadium or whatever, like stadium. Um, Yeah, I was kind of shocked. I definitely like it more than hot sauce, but I do not really vibe with their like first of all their outfits and their hair. It was a mess. Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack here. All right, so let's start with like the previous tracks, right? Make a Wish was
Mhm.
also NCT Dream, is that correct?
I have no idea. Okay, wait, let me check.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't.
Well, in that vein of hot sauce and I
Yeah,
think Make a Wish,
yeah,
it does feel like
yeah.
the lyrics and the suggestive
That
nature of
that
it.
was NCTU.
Oh,
Make a Wish
NCTU,
was NCTU.
got it.
Um, but NCT Dream was hot sauce and boom.
Boom. Okay. I think is Mark in NCTU as well? I feel like he's in every group. I
No, Mark is not in NCTU,
All right. Well, that's just my
but
brain.
Jamin is.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a
Yeah.
transfer over. Well, like the previous songs, it does feel like NCT as an entire brand was leaning more towards
Hmm.
like suggestive, kind of adult lyrics and like
Yeah.
alluring like concepts. Where NCT Dream now going into Hello Future, which to me I'm still hearing Hello Future, but that's just me from the Bay Area. Um, it's it was refreshing, just like Doug said, because I think for me it's like, and Anita pointed this out, like they're a younger group, they're youthful, they've been in the game for a while, but at the same time they are younger members in the entirety of
Yeah.
NCT Dream. So I think it
Hmm.
fits really well with kind of the summery lightness that,
Yeah, like it was a very youthful song. I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. And then for me, like I have flashbacks of summer music festivals with Coachella and EDC very much just kind of floating in
Yeah.
my head. So when I watch a
Hmm.
music video like this, I'm seeing a lot of the CG, a lot of the colors, a lot of the things that could be projected on LCD screens, those enormous ones at
Yeah, like
festivals.
their t-shirts were also very like Coachella type vibes. They
Yeah,
they definitely gave Coachella vibes.
yeah. So
Um,
go ahead.
no, no, no. Yeah, you can go.
No, no worries. Yeah, I think it. I like again, very like I said, very surprised and kind of cool that the crew landed on this as being their favorite track of the week. Um, I mean, for a number of reasons, where I think it's a good switch up from the past NCT branded music, and
Hmm.
I think I think it's just a good time to go into the youthful movement. I mean, I feel like
Yeah, and I mean like it's summer and like everyone is just like in like a cheery or like happy type mood.
yeah, because I think there could be also that trapping of, because everyone's doing light summer songs, the the contrast now would be to do something dark and heavy and brooding, and it's like, oh, well, sometimes the trend works really well, and then they pulled it off really well. So I think this song only gives me like positive, happy vibes. Um, I thought Warren said something interesting about the construction of the song, how it's noise music, but there's some electronic aspects that are all balanced well with good energy. And it creates this nice tension that drives the song forward. And it doesn't happen very often in K-pop, but Warren was saying how if you kind of create that like perfect blend of all those elements, you get a song like this, where yes, like we've said this like a number of times already that it's very light and summery, but I did still feel like it was an NCT song, where it had that
Hmm.
stamp of like a little bit of aggression, a little bit
Yeah,
of weird futuristic
I
stuff.
know why. Because Mark's rap in it, he specifically said straight facts, and it immediately reminded me of his jobbing verse. And so I think like they have like their signature like rap verses that make you like that tell you that this is NCT or like this is Super M.
That is a great call. I couldn't put my finger on it, but now that you said it out
Yeah.
loud, I can't unhear it and unthink it. Um,
Yeah, it's the straight facts. Like when as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Oh my God, this just gives me jobbing vibes." But it's so Mark and it's so NCT.
yeah. Oh wow, like you're totally right. And what's cool about this song is it fits, right? Or it's like it does remind you of NCT, Super M, and like the other SM boy group
Mhm.
sounds.
Yeah.
But the song itself is still distinct enough where we're still continuing to harp on the fact that it's just so summery and light, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's a feel good song. Was there anything else about the crew's discussion this week that stood out to you?
I was laughing at Doug's comment about oh my god, I forget the Yeojin from LOONA, like her rap verse being stronger than 2 p.m. I didn't really pay attention because I still don't really know like the members of LOONA or 2 p.m. But that stood out to me and made me laugh.
Seems like you're feeling some kind of aggression today with your LOONA rap vibes and then your 2 p.m. rap vibes and then Mark with straight facts. You're very,
oh my god,
you're threading the needle quite well today, Ara. I like this pattern, this theme between all the songs that you're pulling through.
Yeah, rapping.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was this week in music. Let's move on now to the Soju chart. Spice King. Kind of an interesting chart this week. Let's start with number 3. We had Twice with Alcohol Free, Brave Girls with Chimabaram, and NCT Dream with Hello Future. Okay, before I say anything, what do you think about this final list that the crew landed on this week?
Okay, so I agree. I did not really like Alcohol Free when it first came out, but my friend is really, really obsessed with it. So she's been sending me so many posts about it. So I've just been watching them. And yeah, it's been stuck in my head. So I'd also put like Alcohol Free, even though like I haven't heard it like as much. Brave Girls, not really. Like I still prefer Rollin' over this one. And I think once I listen to Hello Future more, it'll be like one of the top NCT tracks as well.
What I found really interesting about this list is that I think I didn't go back and check the other weeks, but I think this is this is a list of 3 songs that are distinctly summer songs. Like, I'm trying to remember if there was like 1 or 2 like dark concepts in between for the other weeks. I know that TXT was around for a long time. That's sort of a summer song still, but I still kind of think it's a dark angsty song.
Yeah, I think it's dark angsty
this
too.
This is 3
was it
summer
last week?
Songs, right?
Wait, wasn't last week? Oh my god, I don't remember. Let me see.
Let me pull it up. Last week was Brave Girls, 17, and EXO. So
okay, EXO was definitely kind of summer.
So EXO was summer. 17 was a little angsty. The music video was angsty.
I haven't watched the music video. I've heard the song, but I don't really remember it. So I'll take your word for it.
No worries. I think this is a great list because I think this encapsulates summertime kind of the most. So far.
Just more like July. Like we're starting July. It's like peak summer now.
And it just feels like summer. I don't know. Good job, crew. And also shout out to Anita for hard carrying Twice because you know what? I think that song is a grower, and I agree. You know, if you like Twice, if you like the girls, if you like watching very visually pleasing things.
Yeah, the videos. If you don't listen to the song on Spotify, it's okay, but you need to watch the videos because those moves are something else.
They are very alluring, is how I put
it.
All right. Well, thank you to the crew for going over some great music this week with LOONA, 2 p.m. and NCT Dream, and a great Spice King this week, a great Soju chart. So let's move on now to the World Cup this week. We have best first dates. Before we get into kind of the details of what happened and how it all occurred, I'd like to pick your brain a little bit, Ara, and kind of see where you're at with this. How often do you feel like we talk about dating on Hinge on the server in general chat? Like, a percentage. Give me like a rough percentage.
I'm pretty sure it's like at least twice a week. At least.
Yeah. So I would say like twice a week, but if we're like not as active as we could be in certain channels, I would say like at least half the time that we're in general chat, we're talking about dating.
Yeah.
Someone's
Yeah.
talking about dating, and then we'll like pop in. I think we are responsible for this best first dates idea, and Doug and Warren and Anita can thank us because we are very open to screenshotting various Hinge things and posting
Oh
them
yeah.
for everyone to see.
Definitely me.
Yeah, I
Me.
think
I post like the most.
you are the champion at doing that.
I feel bad. But like I always like the most interesting one, so
Yeah. And for those who are listening who may not be part of the nation on Discord and who are afraid to match with someone on Hinge now, just know we are not doxing these people. We are just highlighting certain things that were said or posted on a profile. No photos, no faces typically, no names. It's just interesting written responses. Would you say that's about accurate?
yeah, that's accurate.
Nice. All right. So let's move on now to, the choices, the best first date ideas that Warren came up with. There were a lot, so we're not going to go through every single one. But from the list, were there any that stood out to you?
Grab the BTS meal at McDonald's versus hiking. Yeah, I want to say I'd rather go hiking.
Yeah, that conversation was interesting, right? Because I think you and I think have talked about like being a little bit more active and wanting to be out in like nature and stuff. But Doug was very adamant about like I don't want to move, I don't want to sweat in nature. So they landed on BTS, and I think also they leaned that way because the show is a K-pop show, so it just so happened that BTS was up against something that I would have personally chosen. I would have chosen hiking. I was surprised that there was a lot of discussion on going to the movies. Where do you fall on that idea of going to the movies on a first date?
Okay, the thing is, going to the movies, it's too close for my liking because that person is sitting right beside you. And I don't know, I'd prefer to like either go to a cafe for like lunch or yeah.
No, I think it's a very valid point to sit in the dark with someone. And
Yeah, especially like how like if you're in like a relationship and you go like you see, or like even if you go by yourself, you see other couples like holding hands at the movies or like sharing like popcorn or something. I'm not okay with that. Like especially doing that on a first date. Like
it's very intimate. Right?
yes.
Maybe a little
Yes.
too intimate for a first date. I can see that. I can vibe with that. I think so the local cemetery was a big talking point. Okay, what are your general opinions on taking someone to a local cemetery? I understand. I think it was partly a joke, but Warren was very passionate about the idea that you could bond with someone walking through a cemetery. I don't know what he was thinking. What do you think about this, Ara?
Okay, so I've never been to a cemetery or like the typical cemetery. So I think it would be interesting just because I've never been there, and especially if like your partner that you're going with is like like pretty funny. They could end up making like enough jokes to make you feel comfortable walking through the cemetery. For me, I just like be looking around. I wouldn't really comment on anything.
If you found out that the person you went to the cemetery with was charming and funny because of the experience, does that bode well? Is that a positive? Is that something you would consider a good date?
Yeah, I would. Especially because it's like, okay, like we did like something mundane as like just walking through the cemetery, but we made it fun. That's like a positive. I'd give him points. or them points.
Well, it seems like you and Warren are quite aligned with this local cemetery date idea. I think.
It's because I've never been to one. If I go to one and then I have a bad experience, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm never going to a cemetery for a date.
Got it. Okay. I think you and Warren should workshop different ideas. Like on his side, how he would set up a date at a local cemetery, and on your side, what are your expectations going to a local cemetery and or somewhere new, right? I think you guys should collab on that and write a thesis. The SojuTalk Academy of Dating. Okay, so this is the one that really stood out to me. I don't know how it got snuck in here and made it to the end, but going to a fan sign, a K-pop fan sign.
Versus BTS meal.
Yeah, well, just in general, the idea of going to a fan signing on a first date with someone you're interested in. First of all, like how do you keep yourself composed when maybe like 50 yards away is like these K-pop idols that you pine over, that you have overwhelming affection for, that you can hardly keep yourself composed and together, and now you have to do that in front of someone you're courting. I don't understand how does one do it? Do you have an idea how you keep yourself together if you are like, I don't know, like...
Honestly, I would so I mean, if they're coming to the fan sign with me, I would expect that they know what a fan sign is and like basically why people go to fan signs. Because if I'm going to a fan sign, I'm obviously gonna fawn over the artist. I'm not gonna keep my shit together.
Yeah, I would be broken. I can name a number of artists that I would be broken over.
Same.
Well, so the thing is, like, love makes people do weird things. I think that's a very straightforward conclusion that we can make about a lot of things. So what if this person that is interested in you just wants to show interest in what you're interested in, however, has no idea what to expect? Then what happens? Or explain.
I would still take them just for the experience, because I mean, even if it doesn't work out at the end of the day, at least they can say, oh my god, like, so for a first date I went with Ara to a fan sign and it was an experience, you know, like it's like a memory to go. Well, at least for me, I would definitely go to a fan sign for my first date, even if the date ends in disaster.
Okay, I see it now. I see the win-win that you're proposing to me. It's either the date goes great and the artists themselves are your wingman/wingwoman, or the date goes poorly and you still got to see Stray Kids up close.
Exactly, see? And I mean, like, to be fair, I've already decided that, like, my significant other needs to support Stray Kids or listen to Stray Kids or listen to my favorite artists.
Well, there you go.
Because
so it works as a buffer, right? It's a
exactly.
filter to identify the qualities of your mate to see if they can hang. You know, I think you got this figured out, Ara. Why are we both on Hinge still? Why are we troubling ourselves when I think we figured out dating? No?
Because I think I need somebody to make an app for dating for K-pop listeners, because finding K-pop listeners on Hinge is just extremely hard, and people don't really like you if you state that in your bio or whatever. What is it called? Like your profile. Like if you state it in your profile, I swear I don't get any matches.
You hear that, Warren? Warren is a UX designer. I think this is his next startup. He needs to quit his full-time job and develop this app for K-pop fan dating.
Yeah, like I mean, people. Okay, so you know how there's dating for gamers. Why isn't there dating for K-pop listeners?
I just found out about that maybe a month ago. That there's an app for gamers to date, and I thought that was amazing. I tried to get on it. I was kind of afraid because I think it's still probably like 95% male. But you know.
Yeah, it's still like so cool, right? Like it's a good concept.
Yeah, I think the idea makes sense, and the idea sounds like it would be very like specialized, right? It helps narrow the field for a lot of people. Yeah, Warren, get on that. I think that's the next venture for the SojuTalk Entertainment Company. All right. Well, thank you, Ara, for just more dating talk. I feel like a lot of our conversations always just end up in dating and kind of the trials and
Yeah, they do.
tribulations of being a single person in North America. But we survive, and we have a lot of fun stories and jokes to keep ourselves going. All right, let's move on now to our weekly check-in. Closing thoughts. What is it that you're watching? I hear that you started watching a competition show. Laura, can you explain?
Yeah. I'm watching Loud. It's a collaboration between JYP and P Nation. And so they're gonna debut two boy groups from that show. One for P Nation, one for JYP. And yeah, so there's that. Originally I wasn't gonna watch it because the age range just didn't really seem to fit my taste. Not really my taste, but like I'm not really like for this age range. So yeah, but then I saw like a couple of videos and I was like, okay, I might as well watch it because it's still happening regardless of my opinions. So yeah, I started watching last week and the fourth episode came out on Sunday. Yeah.
And you binged it in a day.
Yeah.
I was kind of amazed. I woke up, I saw you talking about it in the
KT channel.
yeah, KTV and K Films and stuff. And yeah, I went about and did stuff in my day. I got back around 4 p.m. Pacific time and saw that you were done and you were watching dramas now. So
Yep.
okay.
Like, I mean, to be fair, like last week it was only 3 episodes, and then I watched the fourth episode on Tuesday, I think.
Man, you are a true fan. I can respect this 100%. All right, so there's a performance, recent performance that I would like to get your thoughts and opinions about. There's a cover of Stray Kids mashed up with Jessie. There are two boys in this group, quite literally boys, who are quite literally 12 years old. All right.
Yep.
Before we get into like that like, emotional response, what do we think objectively about that performance?
Honestly, I'm actually very, very surprised at the talent those boys have because they danced and they sang really well. They were so like in tune, and those moves were like really sharp and accurate. So, I mean, they do have talent. Like, you can see how much they practiced and everything. So, I was really surprised, to be honest. Like, especially because one of them is a Japanese boy. And so, him like singing in Korean was just really shocking.
So I watched the performance,
Mm-hmm.
and I just stopped and said, "Wow, these kids are
Yeah.
really good dancers."
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, like that was the first thing that like caught my attention was they have a really great foundation in dance and movement and kind of understanding like that spatial awareness, right? Because I think
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, not to compare like other trainees, but you can tell who has been dancing for the majority of their life versus who just started dancing when they got into a trainee program. And I feel like this collection of boys, these three kids, I probably have been dancing for the majority of their life, but then now it's like polished and refined through their company. Do you know if this was a P Nation group or
It's a JYP group.
Well, there you go. All the more props to JYP for getting these kids up to speed because I think the vocals will come. Got to hit puberty. They'll deepen the voice.
Yeah.
But I think if you're just listening to how they're able to like match the song and sing within their register, it was all good. And they were doing it dancing. So like athleticism's already there. I can't even walk and talk at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. I think this show is surprising. Been a really nice summer surprise of just like clips here and there, but also the relationship that JYP and Psy have. right?
Yeah, it was really like, especially like the first episode I started watching and like just like really surprised because Sai is like a really funny guy and it was just so entertaining to watch even though it was like just like with the auditions. It was really fun.
Yeah, there's a
So I
lot.
highly recommend, please watch.
Yeah, there's a lot in there to keep you engaged. If you're not all about like performances or watching like male trainees, there's just
Hmm.
a lot of cool interactions between Psy and JYP. But then also the auditions are pretty good. Like I'm, yeah, and you know me, like boy groups, it's a high bar for me to be interested. But man, these kids,
Yeah, yeah, they're so talented. I was shocked. And
super
there,
impressed.
yeah, and there's this one, I don't know, like, there's this one guy who is from Brazil, I think. Like he's grown up in Brazil. So, this was his first time in Korea, and he produced like for his audition, he produced like the whole film, including like the music. He sang in the film, the filming itself. He directed the film. It was like really cool to watch that that film. Yeah, I was just really shocked because they're so talented and so like young,
Yeah.
and you need guts to like, I mean, just go to Korea because I want to be an idol. I
Yeah.
would not be able to do that.
It's a lot of drive and grit from these kids, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, like Ara said, check out the show. I think it's a great show, and there are probably going to be a lot more people who pick it up later on as the summer goes on. So yeah,
Yeah.
talk about it on Discord because I think there are a lot of us at the nation who would love to, you know, fan out about kind of the cool things that we're seeing on this show.
Yes.
Our last point this week that you and I are both extremely excited about. Extremely excited about. Extremely. Do you see what I'm trying to do here?
X X.
We have Alexa coming in hot next week with a new single, Extra. All right. We'll take a couple minutes for this. First of all, that title is everything. That is her in one word. Spelled incorrectly, but that is her in one word. Uh, the colors, her hair. I'm just saying words now. Ara, take over. What do you think? How do you feel?
I am pleasantly looking like I'm really excited for it. I was really surprised because spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the MV teaser, please skip over the next 5 seconds. BM is in it. I'm so excited. I'm literally like, oh. And yeah, it's what time is it right now? It's coming out in like 6 yeah, 6 hours, guys.
Yeah.
It's coming out in 6 hours. I'm yeah, so excited. The pink hair. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a simp for pink hair, blue hair, silver hair. Yeah.
Her pink hair is so loud, and yet it's so her. And
She's so loud. So I mean, it just matches her so well.
but this is like the first time she's this pink, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
It's,
mean, she was like that blonde look. She's had that blonde look for so long, and now this pink look is just so good.
it's everything. Um, on the server in Harold's Homies, we get an opportunity to vote on which songs will be covered next week. If there is a
Hmm.
way I can, curry the favor of those in the nation to please upvote Alexa because I will be doing it. And if I need to exchange favors, there has been a bartering system of exchanging votes. I will do that. If you want me to vote for, who's coming out? Who's a boy group coming out that I have little knowledge about that I should be voting for? I don't know. Give me a
Uh,
name. Uh,
um, Gravity. I don't know.
Gravity, sure. If you're a Gravity fan and you're in Harold's Homies and you need to vote in the next couple of weeks, I got you. But you got to vote Alexa and get her covered on the main show. Oh man.
Yeah, just honestly, just vote for Alexa, guys. I'm sure you won't be regretting it because she's just so loud and her energy is nobody can match her energy in my opinion. So yeah.
Extremely well put. Extra well put. All right. Well, that does it for the show this week. Ara, thank you so much for joining me for this last 2/3 or so for the show. It was great to have you. Thanks for listening to the SojuTalk Nation podcast, episode 25. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform, and continue the conversation on the SojuTalk Kpop Podcast Discord. This has been the SojuTalk Nation for Malfiar and Ara. This is Crispy.
Bye.
Bye.